kind of Friday night pint live. Me and Ryan are here. It's the eve of David Moyes' last home game. Lots to get our teeth into, lots to talk about tonight. How you doing, Ryan? You're all good, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Sorry, I'm just trying to share the video. All good, mate. Thank you. Nice to be back on. It's been a few weeks. I've had a lot going on, work-wise, personal-wise, helping sorting out the DT38 charity game, which is next Saturday, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But that's exciting. Really looking forward to that. It's good to be back on, and I've missed it. You all right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. I'm like you, mate. I ain't been here for a long time. So much so since I was last on here, I've lost all my gear. I've lost all my equipment. I've got no light. I'm able to sit in a funny angle because I can't set my living room up how I used to. So, this is all a bit new, isn't it? Again.
Yeah, I've sort of been out of the West Ham world for a little while, just concentrating on myself, and so I've kept my eye on what's been going on, obviously on social media and that, and with what's been going on with the team, which ain't great. I'm looking forward to getting back into the swing of things, and looking forward to it.
That's it, mate. That's it. That's how we've got to look at it. I think Dan is going to come along and join us tonight. I think he's just running a little bit behind. I presume he's been working and he's on his way back. But yeah, hopefully he'll be able to join us. But mate, so much has gone on, obviously since we were last here, since we last saw each other as well. There's it's been a crazy couple of weeks West Ham related, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the season was over once the Leverkusen game was done. Nothing to play for, nothing to fight for. The players ain't showing any fight. Moyes obviously knew he was going. I'm not saying that he hasn't shown fight and spirit, but yeah, it's a difficult time for the football club because we're in that period now where we know the Moyes era is coming to an end and there will be a new era. Mm-hmm. We sort of know who the new manager is going to be. It's well documented now. Lopetegui. I'll get used to saying that name. Good luck, Scott, pronouncing that. But before we go into it, and while we're waiting for Dan, I've got a little video to play after the game tomorrow. Well, the video will explain it, so we'll see you in about a minute.
What's happening, guys? Nicky Hawkins at West Ham Fan TV. One Friday night pint's going on. I know I'm not in it, but tomorrow night we'll be at this place here. Stonate have invited us along to the sports bar and grill at Canary Wharf. So you see this guy here, look, you see this little tunnel come through here, and we'll be filming in here. And they've let us invite some guests along. So if you want to come along to the sports bar and grill and watch post-match pint, we'll have a few drinks with you guys after. We'll see if the home season with a bang, with a few drinks and everything else. So the last home post-match pint, the last post-match pint of the season, will be here at the Sports Bar and Grill. You're invited along. So anyone that's at the game tomorrow, come along. A couple of stops to Canary Wharf, and we'll be here courtesy of Stonegate. But guys, enjoy Friday night pint, and we'll see you tomorrow. Come on, your irons.
Yeah, so after the game tomorrow, the boys will be doing post-match pint in Stonegate in Canary Wharf. So if you fancy going down and joining the boys for a swift half or a full pint, whatever you want, it's a Saturday. Hopefully they'll be talking about a win. Gutted I can't be there tomorrow. It'd have been good to meet a few people, but hopefully we could do something like that again next season. One thing I did take from that video is Nicky likes tapping his screen a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's got a fly on the screen.
That's the old setting, isn't it? To make the to do the HD, make it look good at the front, it blurs out the background. So mate, it'd be good. It'd be a good one. Obviously we'll be down there as soon as we finish fan cams. I think Dan is heading straight down after the game, and obviously myself and Nicky will be along once we finish doing all the fan cams. Then set up. And...
If Dan's going there straight after the game, good luck with that tab when you get there, because it'll be gone. And they'll probably be about 5 or 6 pints down before you get there.
No, he's got work to do. He's got to set it all up. So it'd be good. It'd be good. It'd be looking forward to it. Like you said, mate, it'd be interesting to be good if we can get a win But going back to what you were saying, with Moyes and how the players and the season finished after the Bayer game, like Souček's comments after the Chelsea game, where basically, without saying it, he's basically saying that the players didn't do what they were told. It's a total disrespect to the manager, and in a way, a massive disrespect to the fans.
Yeah, I think you get that situation when a manager's going, because the players would have been told weeks ago this ain't something that's just happened overnight. So some of them probably turn around and think, well, he's not going to be here next season. There's nothing to play for. I mean, I think you can see that in a few players. I think Paquetá is one. I think his body language changed quite a lot. I think there's a few players that have. I'll go back to the Crystal Palace game. You look at that game, and even Chelsea last week. The players just don't look interested. And as you said, mate, it's disrespect to everyone connected with the football club, especially the fans. Especially when the fans that travel away from home have to sit there and watch that being served up. And I think it's time for a change. I think it's come at a good time. I think Moyes will get a good reception tomorrow. Yeah. I think whatever you think of David Moyes, whether you love him or hate him, or whether you're sitting on the fence, you can't deny what he's done for the football club. I know it hasn't been great this season sometimes, but, to win us our first trophy in 40-odd years, I think that he has done a good job. When you look at the stats, if you looked at his CV after he left West Ham, we've had one relegation battle under him since he's come back in 4 seasons. Won a trophy, record Premier League points. So, yeah, look, he leaves. But it was time for a change. And I think that David Moyes has obviously come out and said that it is time for a change. And he's probably ain't happy to leave the football club. I think if he could stay, he probably would. But one thing, Scott, that I've seen a lot of people getting on the new manager's back already. We're going to call him J-Lo. People are saying call him J-Lo. So I'm going to call him J-Lo because I can't pronounce his surname yet. I will learn it. I think that a new manager coming into a football club that's going to have massive changes in the summer with a lot of players leaving the football club. You've got to recruit new players in to replace them and add to the squad already. I think having European football next season will be a blessing, playing once a week, new manager settling, because I think that we might have to go backwards before we go forwards. And you can't get on this new whoever's in charge, whether it's J-Lo or whether it's whoever, you can't get on his back before he's even come in the door. You just can't do that, because I know there's some people out there that want to do that. They love it. They love the negativity. But, you just got to get behind the new managers, get behind him from the start. Yeah.
And that's the thing, mate. That's what, in a way, when you sit there and, look, there's no... Every player you sign is a gamble. Every manager you bring in is a gamble. The problem is if you don't give them time, and it's hard in the Premier League because there is time. And, reading through some of the articles with Moyes going and things, is he, a victim of his own success? The fact that he delivered us a trophy, that trophy win, papered over the cracks of an awful Premier League season. And then we had a good start in a way, got some good results, had a good Christmas. But since then, it's been awful. But like you, there's so many people out there with this negative agenda towards certain people within the football club and massive negativity towards Moyes. Look, Moyes, I've never been a Moyes in, a Moyes out. I've always sat on the fence. I'm like you now. I do think the time for a change, it is the right time. We saw that with Allardyce. The time had come that we needed to move on. Bringing in a new manager and sort of trying to change the philosophy is always a good thing. But if you don't give the manager time and then you jump on the back straight away after a couple of poor results or poor performances, then you're just going to keep chopping and changing.
There's no hiding the fact, Scott, that if Moyes was at any other Premier League club, he probably would have been sacked. 4 wins in in 2024 ain't great.
No,
And
no,
any
no.
other club would have sacked their manager most probably with that. But I think the board wanted to show maybe a little bit of loyalty to Moyes for what he'd done last season. You know, let him see out the season. We was never going to get relegated. We were still in Europe. But once that Leverkusen game was over, I think that's probably when it was done. That's probably when they said, look, we don't want to sack you, but if we can come to an agreement where we both part ways happy, and then I think that's what's happened.
Yeah, and I think that is what it is, mate. You know, like you said, you can't. You look at this season. What 4? Like you said, 4 wins in 2024. You know, anyone else in the Premier League, they'd be out the door. You know, and that is just the cutthroat business that the Premier League is. Unfortunately, you know, you're not the tenure that he's had. You know, you can't sit there and say give him time. He had the opportunity to strengthen in January. He brought in one of the worst players. Well, one of the worst signings in our Premier League era, bringing in Calvin Phillips on loan. You know, it's a massive waste of money. You know,
I think you're right there, Scott. That's where we went wrong. We had a good Christmas. We were sitting, I think we was in the top 5. You know, if we'd have just gone out and got in a few signings, maybe kept the likes of Fornells and Ben Rama as well. You know, the Phillips signing was, I mean, I think he's gone back to City now because he's got a calf injury, so he's out for the rest of the season. You know, when you think of Phillips's highlights, what is it? Giving away penalties, sent off, and sticking his middle finger up to the fans. You know, he didn't have a great West Ham career, did he? But it was just one of them unfortunate signings that didn't work out. We had the luxury a few years ago where we signed Jesse Lingard and it worked out. Phillips come in. There was a point where I did feel a bit sorry for him, but yeah, it was a disaster of a signing.
Oh, massively, mate, massively, and that's the thing. You know, you gambled on the hopes of our European dream, so to speak, on a midfielder that hadn't played any games. You know, and let's be honest, the games that he had played, he looks absolutely awful to City. You know, his record for City is terrible. His record for us is awful. You know, there were so many other opportunities there where we could have strengthened. And again, this is Moyes at his downfall. You know, I like working with a small squad, defensive minding. You know, we went out to Leverkusen, showed them too much respect, conceded 2 late goals, come home, took the game to them. You know, that's one of the best performances, first half performances anyway, that I've seen over the London Stadium. You know, should have possibly been 2 or 3 up, didn't take our chances, but then the players tire because you've got such a small squad. You know, and that is the difference. And this is the thing for me with Moyes, and this is where Moyes lets himself down. You know, there's comments there saying, you know, we've seen it all, careful what you wish for. There's comments, you know, he's our most successful manager in 40 years. Like you said, his stats wise, probably leading up to Christmas, not so much now, but his win percentage has been really good. But he lets himself down because he doesn't evolve. You know, he's stuck in his ways. He's stubborn. He doesn't want to change, and it's my way or the highway. And unfortunately, that's why after this, he's not going to get a job at a bigger club than what he's at now.
Yeah, no, well, yeah. I mean, when you look at David Moyes, who's going to go for him? It'll be maybe a struggling Premier League. It'll probably be us. Give it November. The new manager ain't won, and we'll get Moyes 3.0 back in the return of Moyesy. But yeah, no, he's never going to have a top job, but you know, he's always going to be a team that's fighting relegation. Will probably pick him up. I know that he's signed for TalkSport for the summer to do the Euros. It'd be interesting to hear him away from the West Ham world. He might open up a bit more and say a lot more. But I'm the same as you. I've always sort of respected Moyes. You know, I think he has done a decent job at the football club. He united the fans, you know, with the European tours and getting us in Europe 3 years in a row. And that comes down to the players as well. But yeah, I mean, with the new manager, Scott, Lopetegui, it looks like it's going to be him. You know, what's your thoughts on him? Because I look at it like this, I know that people look at him through Wolves. He's done a decent job at Wolves, keeping them up. He left them because of no money or whatever. So he walked out at the beginning of last season, or was it this season? Was it last? It was this season, wasn't it?
Was it this? Was it? Yeah, because then Gary O'Neill come in, didn't he?
Yeah. So he's managed Real Madrid. He's managed Seville. He's managed Spain, the national team. So he can't be a bad manager when you got 3 clubs like that on your CV. So he might bring fresh ideas. Maybe, as much as I like our backroom staff, I love Kevin Nolan, Mark Robson, all of them involved. It'd be a shame to see some of them go or not be part of the first team anymore. But, a new backroom staff, new fresh ideas. I know a lot of people are saying it's Pellegrini all over again, but how do you know? Let's give him a chance. Let's see what he can do.
That's the thing, like you said, there's the reports, but when he did leave Wolves, it was because he was promised, or apparently the goalposts were moved 3 different times, and he just thought enough is enough. I'm sure he walked out on Spain as well, which is a little bit worrying. I don't know too much about him to talk about his style of play. I don't watch Spanish football, so I can't say what he was like at Madrid. So it's a tough one. But like you said, sometimes a full change of the board is a good thing. I don't think he's going to be a Pellegrini. I don't think we're going to go down that avenue with him. I don't think he's going to be that disastrous. But the thing that worries me a bit is if he walked out on Wolves when the gateposts got moved more than once, why would you want to work with someone like David Sullivan? That bloke's got the gatepost on wheels, isn't he? The amount of time he moves things around.
The thing as well is that we don't know whether the Sullivan era is coming to an end soon as well. There's a lot of talk around that. So we don't know what's going on at football club. And as someone pointed out there, he's not a manager. He's coming in as a head coach. So he's going to have people working above him, making their decisions. Are they just going to say, look, you stick to the training ground and the match day and focus on the team and getting them ready, and we'll do the work behind the scenes in bringing in the players? Obviously, he's got to have some sort of say in the players, but going by Tim Steiten's record, and this is a manager as well that Tim Steiten has picked out that he wanted. I think Bayern Munich were linked with him as well. So he's a manager sort of in demand, but, it's either going to go one way or the other, innit? We know that. If he has a great start to the season, we're all going to get it. If we don't win in our first 4, 5, 6 games, it's going to be everyone's going to sort of get on his back, and you've got to give this manager a chance. You have to. You can't just instantly dislike him because he's not your choice. Because at the end of the day, like we could go, like we was linked with the Sporting Lisbon manager that everyone wanted.
Yeah,
he could have come in, and what would happen if he didn't win these first 10 games? What would happen? Are you going to stick with him because he was your choice that you wanted? Football's a funny game, isn't it?
Oh, of course it is, mate. Of course it is, and that's the thing. And the problem is with social media now, you've it's not like it used to be. You used to have a bish and a moan down the pub to your mates, or when you turn up to work the day after the football. But now it's just a constant barrage of it all across social media. So it's just madness. But maybe this is us evolving as a football club. Like you said, we've started sort of being at the helm now. Being a lot involved. If he is the person that's picking out the managers, I know we've sort of had the rumours floating about that he wanted one manager and Sullivan wanted another one because this one's backed by the agent that Sullivan likes working with. But it's all hearsay. So it's tough, mate. We've just got to give him a chance. And that's how I look at it. But unfortunately, the checkbook's got to be there. That's the thing. That's when But look, let's take a few comments before we start looking ahead into that.
Thing is, Scott, just to jump on that before you take the comments, I agree, because if he left Wolves because they didn't have any money, he must have been promised some sort of kitty. So, but whether we've got to sell, probably Lucas Paquetá would get a good return, and obviously Kudus as well has got a buyout clause. So we might have to lose a couple of players to rebuild again, which I don't want to see them two leave the football club. Of course I don't. But it's an interesting one. It's going to be a very interesting summer. I think there's going to be a lot of, obviously, transfer rumours and everything. So, yeah, it's back.
That's it, mate. That's it. Let's just take a few. There's only a couple that I've started because we're too busy chatting thingy. So, would Zaha be a good addition? Raider Hope says.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's we see what he's done for Palace. He hasn't had a great time out in Turkey, but we know well he's always been a thorn in our side when he's played West Ham, and he's always that player that you hate, but you'd love him to play for you. A bit like Arnautovic, you know, you always get them sort of players. So would he be a good addition to a squad? Playing once a week, I think it'd be a good addition. I'd take him.
I'm with you, mate. So long as his attitude's right, he's a decent player. We see that with Palace. You know, he held that club together for a long period of time. You know, but they've started moving on now. Frankie James, will we even miss Paquetá when he's been so awful for so long? I think the stats. I'm sure I see a stat somewhere that we haven't won a game that he hasn't played in.
Thing is, Scott, the thing is with Paquetá, right? I love him. I think he's on his day when he's on form, he's brilliant. But I find he goes missing a lot in games. I find he gets very frustrated a lot in games. That could obviously change under a new manager. But if I had the choice whether to lose Paquetá or Kudus, I'd sell Paquetá because I think Kudus all round is a better player. Maybe not skill wise, but work wise, I'd have him all day long.
See, the thing for me is, mate, is new manager coming in, right? And I get what you're saying with Paquetá, right? But yeah, I think this comment here by MW subs it up. He's a luxury player, right? And it doesn't fit the Moyes way of playing, having a luxury player. So you're asking the player to do a lot more than what he's actually capable of doing, right? I think that we've shoehorned other players into centre midfield and sacrificed Paquetá by playing him out left. And that's why we're not seeing the best. Look, I get, right, and I know it's Brazil and, you know, there's some top quality players. But when you see Paquetá playing for Brazil, in that role that he enjoys playing in and having the freedom to do what he wants to do, he's a completely different player to what you see in a West Ham shirt. For me, I know we need a rebuild. I know the money will be good, but you've got to be looking at Paquetá as your main man to build the team round. You know, because at the end of the day, if you sell a Paquetá and you keep a Kudus, if you ain't got someone to feed him the ball, what use is he going to be? And this is a big issue.
Scott, I totally agree with you. And I'd love Paquetá to, under a new manager, get that free role, as you said, build a team around him. But if City come in with 85 million for him, I'd take it. I really would. I'd take it because I think that we can go out there and find other players similar to him. So, you're going to take some comments?
Yeah, cool. I go back. I'll mute down for a minute. Clean slate with a new manager. I'm hopefully optimistic, to be honest. Evening, gents. If you had a choice between McKenna, Carrick, and O'Neill, who would you go for?
McKenna's done a great job, isn't he? Carrick, obviously, ex-West Ham, doing a good young manager. Gary O'Neill, I think he's done a great job at Wolves as well. So, out of them three at the moment, I'd probably take Gary O'Neill. I'd probably take Gary O'Neill.
I'm with you. Carrick's done all right at Borough, but I think O'Neill, if you're going to choose out of the three, I'm going to say O'Neill just because he's got that bit more experience in the Premier League. You know, the Championship's a tough division, but we've seen it before where managers come from the Championship and fail in the Premier League. Look, it does work, but if out of them three, I'm going for O'Neill. John says, I'm excited by the new appointment and can't expect too much because of the current state of the squad. And this is the thing, you need the new manager coming in. I think you've got to be looking, you've got to build around our better players. Like if you're going to offload one, don't offload the two. But we've got to be looking at the youth. You've got to start looking to bring that youth in because that's again where Moyes come unstuck by not bringing in some of the youth players, especially when he started playing players out of position. When you had players there with, look at young Earthy, right? He come on that game. I know he only lasted 10, 15 minutes before he got injured, but he was a breath of fresh air. He was the only one looking to get on the ball. He was the only one looking to move the ball.
Do you know what would not surprise me is if Moyes plays a lot of the youth against Man City,
which would ruin them.
Yeah, exactly. But this is why I think that Moyes should have his game tomorrow, and then he should leave. And on the last game, let Nolan and whoever take charge, because that's what. But you're talking about the youth squad. I mean, Downs has been getting so much praise in the Championship. Southampton fans have been raving about him. He could come back different. You've also got Freddie Potts, who done great at Wickham, got player of the season. And do you know what I love about him? All the players have gone on holiday. Potts has gone straight back to West Ham, joined the first team in training. So we maybe see him like. Can he play? I think he can play, can't he?
Yeah, he can play.
Their season's now ended. So,
I think he can play because didn't he play for us in the League Cup or something like that earlier in the season?
Yeah, there's a lot of talent in our youth, and this new manager, because he might not be able to go out and spend as much, he might have to nurture some of these young players. And there's some good players there. We've seen them. We've seen what they've done in the under-23s and that. So, and you've got players like Ben Rama, Kera, all out on loan. They could come back and get a breath of fresh air, new environment at the training ground. They wasn't Moyes fans. We know that. That's why they wanted out of the club. That's why they went out on loan. So, yeah, you all right, mate?
Yeah, sorry about it. I was pissing about with it for ages. Got it working, jumped in, and then it stopped working. So, had to try everything, turn it on and off again, all that jazz.
Get proper IT support there, mate, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Good to see you both.
And you, mate, and you.
You, mate, you made me jump when you first logged on. It was all green. I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I turned the light on and it was set to green for some reason. But yeah, as everyone feeling happy and positive?
Yeah, we've just been talking about obviously David Moyes, the end of the David Moyes era, and then the start of a new one with this new manager. So yeah, it's exciting times. It's something to look forward to. I think we all need it. I think everyone at the football club and the fans need that fresh start. It's obviously you're nervous because you don't know how it's going to go and you want it to go well and you just hope it don't start bad. But I'm pretty confident in him. What the videos I've seen of him and the way he talks, I think he'd be a good fit for West Ham.
Yeah, I mean, the big question mark. I don't think it's what I've said before, a terrible appointment. I think he's a good, solid manager. It's just the question marks over the style of play. Now that was a big bone of contention, and we'll just have to see. He's coming in as a head coach, not a manager, which is key. I don't think we've ever had that before at West Ham. I think everyone we've had has been a manager. So having Stonate, and the interesting thing, I had this chat with someone on Twitter about this because I was saying about Stonate, obviously is picking the players, but I also believe that he should be setting out the style of play, which, they was like, no, you can't have that. You can't have that. Should be the coach, the manager. But us as a club, I think, need to define how we want to play. So if we do have to sack Lopetegui, hopefully, touch wood, we don't. We just get a manager that fits that mold of how we want to play, a coach, and a player. And we're not starting a whole new thing. You're going from a counter-attacking team to a possession-based team to a high-pressing team and then you have to keep, the players we've got at the moment don't fit this manager. So we've got to get rid of them, get players in that fit this manager, and then we sack him and then we start again. Whereas if you have a set style of play, a set way, and you get a coaching and go, this is what we're doing, can you deliver that? Yep. And if they fail, you're sacked, coming in, same thing, and hopefully you don't miss a beat. So hopefully that's what that's what we're doing with Lopetegui. So it'll be interesting for sure. I think regardless, even if he just played how he usually plays, I think it'll be a slight upgrade. I know he likes to play possession, but a little bit more cautious possession, I think.
Yeah, I said that earlier, that we might have to go backwards before we go forward. So next season might be that, because obviously, and it might be a blessing that we ain't got Europe. One game a week, gives him time to. The only thing about not having Europe is you won't attract certain type of players. Players want to play in Europe, but if there's a project there and a plan, I think that some players will say, okay, it's only one season, we'll get back in Europe, and then we'll go again the season after.
The thing is, I did a pre-record for Talksport earlier, and I said they asked about expectations for the new manager. I said it's three things for his first season. I expect not to be in a relegation battle. I will take, if we finish mid-table, 12th or whatever, I will take that, as long as we play better football, more entertaining football, and we bring in some youngsters. So I think if Lopetegui can deliver those three, which I don't think is unreasonable, I don't think that's crazy, then I think that's a good basis to build on for the first season. I'm not expecting him to come in and get us challenging for Europe necessarily. If he does, that's great, in his first season. But if he doesn't, as long as we're seeing them improvements and progression in terms of how we play, youngsters getting more opportunities, you can take, not having the results maybe,
You should have. Who was you on Talksport with?
That Adam Catterall and Jermaine Pennant. I think it's going out later.
You should have wound them up and said, top four or nothing.
Yeah, I should have. He's got to win the bloody league.
Do you know the thing is though, right, Dan, is when you look at it, that this guy plays possession-based football, obviously Moyes doesn't, so that's an upgrade when you look at that, because our possession stats are terrible. But when you think of where we are, right, and let's be honest, I think if we hadn't given up the ghost and we had improved the squad slightly in January, we'd still be pushing for that top six, right? With the players we've got now, 1 or 2 additions. And this is the thing, you're saying about mid-table finishing 12th. If we are to keep hold of the Pakatars and the Kudises, right? I get, look, there is a massive rebuild. Zuma, Oggy, Creswell, Antonio, Ings, Cornet, Benrahma, Kera, all going out the door. Probably Johnson as well. Whether Johnson will stick around now, the manager's changing, we'll have to wait and see on that one. But that is a big rebuild. But when you look at the squad as it is now, this squad, it is paper thin. We have had injuries and suspensions at awkward times, but we have been there and thereabouts pushing for European places, right? With a manager that's very negative minded. Yeah, with players knowing that this manager's probably been going out the door at the end of the season a lot longer than what we've been known. And I think this new guy coming in, you've got to be pushing top 8 to finish. That's my expectations, because we're stepping. Firstly, I get what you're saying with what Ryan was saying about stepping backwards to go forwards. But if you look at the good players you've got within this squad, you can keep hold of them players and use them players, especially if we're going to look at more possession-based football. You can't be getting rid of players like Paquetá and Kudus if you want to move for, if you want to look at it, go back that possession style. This is where
defense goes, Scott. That's the problem.
Exactly, and that's it, mate. And that's probably half the reason why we're in the position that we're in. But we're still there or thereabouts. Do you know what I mean? We're only probably 2 or 3 players off securing a European place again, if you use the youngsters correctly.
I mean, when you look at the back 4, Zuma needs replacing, Ogbonna needs replacing, Aguirre to probably leave the football club, Creswell's going to leave the football club.
Soufal's not getting any younger, really.
Soufal, I think there's rumours that he might be leaving as well. So we're going to have no one at the back. So you've got to rebuild your defence. Then you're going to lose a player like Paquetá. Like you said, Johnson going as well. So there is a massive rebuild at this football club. And as I said, if he finishes in the top 8 next season, then it'll be a great start to his West Ham career, and it'll be a great achievement. But it's not going to be easy, because as I said, you look at them players there. You can't be letting Soufal leave the football club.
You know, he's more consistent than most of the other defenders that we've got in the side. Aguero's just completely fallen off a cliff quality wise. You know, Mavropanos is very hit and miss, but I think there is a player there that you can work with. Zuma's legs are done. Oggy's just too old. Creswell's too old. You know, Emerson's running for Player of the Year for me. You know, he's definitely up there. He's probably the most consistent, other than Soufal, with our back line.
But we still need, that's the thing as well. We're going to need depth in these positions. Yeah. So even though Soufal, like you keep Soufal, you're still going to need a right back. You got Emerson, you're still going to need a left back. And that depth has been our problem because we've had no one to bring off the bench.
And
give us
this is what we touched on earlier. This is one of the problems with Moyes, is that he's allowed the depth to go the way it is. And you've got...
He said he likes working with a small squad. That's him. I think
with David Moyes, he's always been that sort of manager where he plans for now. He worries about this next game. Like, he's not worried about... He's not forward thinking. He has the players there that he knows will get him through this season. Like, that's why I think that next season we might see a lot of the youth, because these players that are getting released, new manager wants to sign these players, but he might have to rely on youth because he can't afford to go out and buy 16, 17 new players.
No.
So it's an interesting one.
And I think he has got a track record of bringing through youngsters and work with youngsters, Lopetegui, if I'm not mistaken, which is a huge positive in his favour. But I think the thing is, Scott, say we did finish 12th, like you said, I know you're saying we should top 8, but I think context is important. And if we're competing in games and we're coming up short, in certain games, and it's just fine margin, you can look on the balance of it and go, we played well, we're putting good performances, but we've got to maybe work on our finishing, or fix this problem with our fence. We're not getting slapped week in, week out. You can look at it on the balance of it and go, look, even when we've finished here, we see signs of improvement off the pitch that you can then see. Then you take it. Whereas if we're sort of kind of crap, then it's a little bit harder to stomach. You are still getting beat 4-0 and 5-0, which I don't think that is the other thing about Lopetegui. I think if he wins, it's like 1-0, 2-0, and if he loses, it's like 1-0, 2-0. I think so. Yeah. That's the thing.
I think obviously you got to look at the forward line as well. We can't go for another season of relying on Antonio to be our number one striker. And look, I love Antonio, and I wouldn't want him to see him go. I still like him to be a part of the squad next season. But Danny Ings, you got to get him out the door. He's 125 grand a week. It's not been good enough. Mate, and every time I've seen him get a chance, he's not taken a chance, or he's not. And this is a statement. I know we've been linked with Ivan Toney. If West Ham pulled off that signing, I don't think we will, but that's the sort of player we need to go for. Put that marker down.
Yeah, the mould of him is what you need. The finishing, the strength that he brings, the bit of pace he's got about him, the attitude on that guy. I don't think we need around our football club, to be honest.
I like that.
I think he's a great player, and I'll take him in a heartbeat. But his attitude, there's something about him.
Yeah, but sometimes you need an arrogant arsehole up front. You need.
Oh, of course you do. We've proved that a lot of times.
And we love Darnie.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I like the look of that Italian striker for Atalanta. He looks decent.
Yeah, he looks class. That's what you wonder, if you could get some of these players, like how some of the players that haven't fitted into the Moyes system, the Scamacas, the Allairs, how they would do in a Lopetegui system, how the current players, could we, Aguerd has been shocking this season, but in a more possession-based team, could he flourish where he's not playing backs to the wall football, last-ditch defending, and that's exciting to see someone play. What I really want to see is if he can get something at Flynn Downs. Flynn Downs has had an excellent season on loan at Southampton. I'm sure they'd love to keep him. We desperately are going to, obviously Phillips has flopped. We're not going to sign him. We're definitely going to need more strength in that area. And if he can get something out of Flynn Downs and give him a go, then that'll be excellent for us, especially with all the positions we need.
The problem with Flynn Downs for me, right, is that Southampton fans are raving him the same as Swansea fans were raving about him. And I had a good chat with a Swansea fan when we signed him, and they were gutted that he was leaving. And it's Championship level. he excels. He wasn't given an opportunity properly by Moyes in that first season we had him, right? But does he get in front of Alvarez in our midfield?
No, of course you don't.
Right. So the problem you've then got is Downs more of a player that thrives through playing week in, week out because of the confidence and that, because bit parts, we saw what he could do in the Europa League. Was it Europa League games he was playing in? I think, we saw what he could do there. But then when you then
replace Suchek, though, surely, Scott, with all the games time Suchek there.
But are you sitting there saying that a possession-based manager is going to play two holding midfielders? Is that what you want to see next season?
No,
right, so this is the thing, and I'm a big fan of Flynn Downs. I like Flynn Downs. He's a great player, and as I said, I don't think Moyes gave him the opportunities that he should have done. Right, and this is what worries me, because when he comes to the club, he admitted himself it was a step up that he weren't expecting. No. The physicality, the fitness levels, and all that, and he had to work on that, and he did. Right, and in the European games, he played really well. When he stepped into the Premier League game, you see, I think it was the City game, the City away from home, the rash challenge, that mistake that he made. Like, you could sit there and say Alvarez makes some of them this season. The rash decisions, hence why he's picked up. Did he get 10 yellow cards this season? Something that he's got to work on for next season. But
we are going to need that cover, though, Scott. And I get what you're saying. He's going to every player any player we bring in that position is going to want to start week in, week out.
Of course,
but gone out on loan.
Yeah,
but
that's the difference. You need a player to step straight into that position and play that way.
And we know Alvarez is going to miss some football next season, whether it's through injury or tiredness from traveling to Mexico or picking up too many yellow cards. So there's going to be game time there, plus the cups and stuff like that.
And what the thing is, when you look at teams like Brighton, like Fulham, clubs like that, right? When this season, when they had injuries or players suspended, they just took a player that plays in that position, stuck him in the side. And even though they might not be as good as that player who normally starts, they knew exactly what they were doing, and the team played the same way. Right? With us, under Moyes, we don't do that. It's always a square peg, round hole, square peg, round hole. When that player's not available, well, that player that plays in that position, he ain't good enough, in my opinion. So I'm not going to play him. I'm going to stick someone who doesn't play in that position out there. We saw it with Ward Prowse. As soon as Phillips come in, right, well, we've got Phillips now. We're going to play him. So Ward Prowse, you're going to play left wing. Yeah, but we've just let two left wingers go. We've got a couple of young left wingers on the bench. But we're going to play a centre midfielder left wing. And then when it doesn't work, we're going to move a defensive midfielder out onto the left wing to see if that works. Oh, no, that don't work. So let's bring a player on who can play that position. And this is the mentality of Moyes, and this is Moyes' biggest downfall. I don't want to see that next season. Next season, if Alvarez is suspended, I want to see an holding midfielder coming in. If Antonio's suspended or injured, I don't want to see a makeshift striker in Jarrod Bowen. I want to see a striker coming on and playing in that position. And this is what the new manager's got to do. Whether it's an under-21 kid who's getting that opportunity because we haven't had the money to go and strengthen in them places because we've got to rebuild so many players at the back. Use the squad and use the youngsters if they're not good enough, but give them a chance to be good enough before you can sit there and say they're not good enough. And that's what Moyes does completely wrong. He says they're not good enough without giving them the opportunity.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. I totally agree.
I was going to read the old super chat from Tony Albridge, 499. What positions in the first 11 do we need to target? We're sort of touching on this now. I'd say centre-back, centre midfield partner for Alvarez, and a striker are the big ones. It's funny, with that centre midfield partner for Alvarez, there's question marks over Ward Prowse. I mean, when he was allowed to play a little bit more progressive and get up the pit, he looked very good early in the season rather than having to sit back deep.
First 10 games of the season, he was unreal. He was scoring, assisting. I think you're right. I think he is that sort of player that needs to play that a little bit further forward.
Yeah, it'd be good. I mean, look, I ideally would like to sign. Paqueta can also play there. It's going to be interesting what our priorities are. If we did sign an attacking midfielder and Paqueta could slot in there, or if we keep Paqueta and we sign another centre midfielder, we just need to fix that bit.
you also got to remember that Ben Rama as well, like could come back a different player, new manager, new, as I said to Scott earlier, new surroundings around the training ground. You know,
him and Mubama likes I think it was him and Mubama liked the post when they announced the Moyes was leaving. Yeah. So I'm sure they're he's happy.
Sometimes them sort of players just need that to happen in their career for them to restart their career at their club. So I think I haven't really kept too much of an eye on him, what he's been done. I think he scored his first goal the other day for Lyon. So, you know, they might want to take him. They might want to sign him. So, it's going to be a mental summer. But what do you reckon about the reception for Moyes tomorrow?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think you'll get a good reception because they've done the right thing and announced that he's going. I think had they not announced it, the tension would have been there. If we had started off bad or they scored or even lost, he would have got all the stick because the fans would have felt like they had to make their voices loud in order to, you know, push the board's hand to make sure they got rid of him. Now, I think whatever happens, win, lose or draw, fans know he's going. So there's no point in, you know, getting on his back and all of that stuff. It's just focusing on, do you know what? Let's look back on it and where we've come, and we've had some great memories. Moyes is going. We're going a different direction. I think it's going to be a much more positive environment.
Do you know what? I can just imagine that when the players and Moyes come back on the pitch after, that Moyes walks out with that Conference League trophy just to say, yeah, this is what I won. This is what I done.
That would have surprised me.
I hope he gets it. I think he will get a good reception. I think the fans that stay behind will give him a good reception. You know, it's all about sort of him tomorrow. He's on the front of the programme. You know, it's his last home game. Give him the send-off he deserves. And one thing I said, and I've said it all the time, I've always wanted David Moyes to leave this football club, knowing in the future he can come back to the football club. You know, not as a manager, but just to, you know, or if you was away on holiday and you bumped into him, you could shake his hand and say, you know, you've done a good job.
Well, and he'll come back, you know, during games. You know what they do? They bring back legends half time, and they can bring him back, you know, when we're playing someone and go, oh, you know, tell us about the Conference League, and he'll get a good reception, you know, visiting and all of that stuff. And I mean, there was talks about him going upstairs. I don't know what that would be, but his first job seems to be TalkSport, is covering the Euros. I don't know if Scotland qualified.
Yeah, they're in it.
Do you know what the funny thing is? It so made me laugh is that there's a couple of them shows on TalkSport. They were talking about when they were saying, "Oh, West Ham fans should be grateful." They went, "I think this was Goldstein and Darren Bent," and they go, "Oh, what? Where else? What other jobs could he go?" And they go, "Newcastle." Nah, they wouldn't have him at Newcastle. Brighton. Nah, can't think of it. Wolves. And they're going down all these clubs, and they go, "Nah, he wouldn't work there." And then they go, and I wonder if he saw that, if he saw some of them shows.
But that's the thing, mate. It is, you know, look, he deserves a good reception tomorrow. You know, he's given us our best footballing memory in our lifetime, anyway. Yeah, we weren't lucky enough to see the last when we won the FA Cup in 1980. You know, that's what you've got to look at, and that's what you've got to remember him for at the end of the day. You know, look, we've all been frustrated with him. He has annoyed us at different occasions, you know, throughout his entire time that he's been at this football club. But, you know, that's the best footballing memory I've got of watching West Ham.
Yeah, look.
You know, and he deserves a reception for that.
Prague will live in our memories for the rest of our life. That was a night that none of us will ever forget, and the celebrations after, and it's something that we've not seen as West Ham fans.
And as Villa found out yesterday, it's not the easy achievement that everyone's made it out to be, because with the
you know what? I'm so happy they got knocked out. So happy they got knocked out. Honestly.
Yeah, I am in a way, but there was a part of me thinking I wanted their fans to have that experience in the final.
Yeah,
you know? and
I get that.
And like, because I know we know what it was like last season. Like this time, well, not this time last year, because we ain't even played the second leg. I think it's a year ago. Next Saturday, when we won out in Alkmaar. So, yeah, I
But
just wanted
seeing
them
their
to have
reaction
that
to their
feeling.
fans afterwards has made me glad, because a lot of, and I was on Twitter. I know Twitter's not a barometer, and there are a lot of decent Villa fans, but you're seeing some of them now try and downplay it when there's videos of them when they qualified for the Conference League. They literally waited for the players' coaches and was celebrating like they'd won the league, which we didn't even do. And when they was all like, yeah, we're gonna win this, we're gonna win this. As soon as they've gone out, it was shit anyway, shit trophy.
I totally forgot that Olympiacos were in our group in the Europa League, so they dropped out of our group to go down, and knock Villa out. But yeah, look, Fiorentina back in the final, being interesting. The thing is, Olympiacos, it was written in the stars because the final was obviously in Greece, isn't it? So they've only got
apparently it might get moved to Budapest now, I think, because of concerns over policing. So poor Olympiacos got there in their own country, and it might be getting moved because of policing issues. So that's a shame.
Another thing that popped up earlier on my news feed, it was 8 years ago today since the last game at the Boleyn. 8 years.
Mad, mate, isn't it?
8 years.
Absolutely mad.
Where's that time gone, eh?
Was there do you know what? I can't remember the game after, because I'm sure that weren't the last game of the season. I can't remember who we.
No, we played Stoke away on the last game of the season, and we lost 2-0 or something like that. It was that was mad. 8 years.
The season ended against Man United, as far as I'm concerned. I blocked out the Stoke.
That's it, mate. That's it. That's the thing.
Flying by, isn't it?
It is. It is. That's the crazy thing, mate. You know, you sit there and watching back and watching the goals back and all that. It doesn't seem 8 years, does it? It just doesn't seem 8 years at all.
I know. When I see it come up, and I thought, nah, it can't be right. And I thought, yeah, fucking 2016, like it's crazy. But a lot's gone on since in them 8 years. We've had ups and downs and ups, and yeah.
Mate, I've had 2 kids in them 8 years. Jesus,
bloody hell.
Yeah,
but I mean, what do you guys think about in terms of the game? Are you confident? Obviously, I think we haven't. The last win was against Wolves, which seems like ages ago.
Dan, you've done a great job of shooting my confidence down the other day when we were talking about it in the group chat. You know, giving me all the stats of how bad we've been at home and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I think Luton. This is a massive game for Luton tomorrow, because if they lose, and do you know what? I've actually really enjoyed watching Luton this season. I think they're a team that just come up, and I'll be honest, at the beginning of the season, I didn't even think they'd get 10 points. I just thought they was going to be the Sheffield United, the whipping boys. But now, fair play to them, and it'll be nice to see them stay up.
Yeah. This is the thing. I would love them to see them stay up, but not at the expense of us getting a win at our last home game of the season. That's the thing.
I mean, like even for the title race, because you got City playing tomorrow early game. They got Fulham, Arsenal, Man United. Arsenal got to go to Man United, and I think that's the game. I said this earlier. I think what's going to happen? City are going to smash Fulham. I can see Man United beating Arsenal, and I can see City beating Tottenham and winning the league on next week, like during the week.
Listen, I would love to see that, because I don't want to go into that game hoping we lose. I really don't, because I don't want to see Arsenal win the league. I'm sorry, I know we got a couple of Arsenal fans in the chat, but
I mean, look,
sorry.
It don't bother me about Arsenal winning the league.
I know you've got like good mates that are Arsenal fans and that.
No, it's not even that. It's just like I'm not that fussed. Like people, I could do understand us boring City winning all the time, and as a neutral, I want to see it go last game of the season, a bit like with the Aguero moment when both teams on the final day. But I just don't know. I just think Man United, I know they're not great at the moment. They got spanked the other night against Palace, but they always seem to pull out a result when you least expect it.
Mm-hmm.
And being at Old Trafford, especially if City get a big win, and that's why in a title race, when it comes to the last 2 or 3 games of the season, if you're neck and neck, you should kick off at the same time. Because I think that getting that early kickoff, you've got a massive advantage. You want to play first.
Yeah.
Pressure's on Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal's record at Old Trafford is terrible. I think they've only won once there, and it was in COVID since 2006.
It's either going to go two ways. Either United are going to nick a win, or Arsenal are going to absolutely smash them about 5 or 6-0.
And it crazy though. Our United could potentially help hand the title to City, and Spurs could potentially help hand the title to Arsenal.
Well, this was another thing I was going to say. If City win tomorrow and Arsenal lose, do you really think that Tottenham are going to turn up? City can win the title at White Hart Lane.
But you've got to remember as well, though, Tottenham are City's bogey side at the minute.
They've only won there.
However, this is a new Ange. This is the Ange Tottenham. The really expansive open at the back Tottenham.
But the Ange, we was at Butlins and watched that game after our game against Palace. And they beat them there, didn't they, Tottenham? So
I think that, but that was when they was on their good run. Since they've been on awful form, and I think the players are going to be on the beach, and the fans, knowing your fans don't want you to win a game, has to do something psychologically. Knowing your fans,
it's a weird one because even if that situation does happen and City beat Spurs, even the Spurs fans are going to be celebrating it.
Exactly.
It's going to be a weird end for the season.
Could you imagine, like, fucking a goal goes in against Spurs and the whole stadium are going, yeah.
They're all doing the what's it called? The pos. What do they call it when they're all jumping up and down? All the City fans, the Poznan, or something. I forgot what it's called. You'd have the whole stadium doing it.
That's the thing. What I don't want is us going into that last game of the season away to City, and City level on points with Arsenal, and they've got to make up that goal difference.
Mate, I said after the Chelsea game, I was
we let in 5 goals against one of the worst Chelsea sides for a long time.
Yeah,
right. We conceded
3 goals and Fulham as well, mate.
Yeah, and conceded 3 against the poorest Manchester United team I've seen for God knows how long.
Don't forget 6 at home to Arsenal. Like, we've had some really big defeats, and that's a strange thing because under Moyes we didn't really suffer really heavy defeats, did we? Like,
no, that was like a Pellegrini thing.
Yeah, now it's like Moyes.
Yeah, that's that. Honestly, that really worried. If we're going into that game, City need to win and make up the goal difference. Mate, you can see it happening, but you can also see us getting beat tomorrow against Luton and going nicking a 1-0 win up at City.
Yeah, but you remember last season when Villa went their last game of the season? They was 2-0 up on the 70th minute and they lost 3-2. That would be so West Ham to go there and go 1-0 up, but knowing us, we'll be 1-0 up in the 80th minute and then we'll still lose it about 4 or 5-1.
I've got so many Arsenal fans begging us to get something against Man City.
I said to my mate, I said, don't rely on us.
No.
I said, if it was at the London Stadium, then there might be a slight chance we could pull off a result. But up at the Etihad on the final day of the season, no chance.
No chance. Terence here got a question for Ryan. If we lose, do the fans turn the Moyes and boo him out? I believe he's talking about tomorrow.
I don't think they will. I think the good thing is as well, it's last home game of the season, so everyone likes getting on the piss, don't they? So everyone will be in good spirits, win, lose or draw tomorrow. So
and it's the weather will be nice as well. Nice day, everyone will be happy on the beer. And again, they know Moyes is leaving. What's the point in booing him? But it's not going to achieve anything. Unless we get destroyed, unless it's like a 5-0 to Luton or something, it'd have to be shocking. It'd have to be embarrassing for fans to boo, like in terms of. So I can't see that happening.
No,
but you know what the one thing is, I want to at least get a point because fucking Crystal Palace of all the bloody teams can still finish above us, and I've got a bet with a Palace fan, and whoever finishes lower has to wear the other team's shirt and eat a spicy chili. So at the moment, I've been comfortable. I've been like,
to be fair though, Dan, you can still win that because if you eat the spicy chili and you shit yourself, you can wipe your ass with their shirt.
Do you know what? I'd do it as well. I'd do it but because they could, if we lost our next 2 games and they won their games, they could finish above us on goal difference.
Mate, we
So,
could still finish in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah,
I think there's a good chance we might.
I've got a feeling we're going to nick a win tomorrow.
We need to.
It'll be tight. It'll probably be like 2-1 or something like that. But I think we'll get a win.
Yeah, because looking at it, Brighton have a game in hand. So,
I think I've got a feeling the occasion might get a bit to Leicester, Luton. Sorry, the pressure that they're under to get a win. Yeah, I think they just need a win. They need a win and Oak Forest. They need to win their last two and Oak Forest lose one.
Yeah. Forest have Chelsea at home and Burnley away.
Yeah, whatever happens, though, Luton fans have had a great season experience, some great memories. Some good wins at Kenilworth Road. Good experience for them. But just one quick thing I want to mention before we talk about something else. I don't know if anyone see Dave Walker's tweet last night from the West Ham way about ex-employee. Obviously suffered a bleed on the brain, which no one knew about. I didn't know about it until I see the tweet. So, yeah, speedy recovery, X. Obviously, health comes before anything, so don't rush yourself back, mate. But, yeah, I was shocked when I see that. It's not nice seeing things like that. You don't like reading about things like that anyway, but when it's someone you know, and we've known for a few years, Dave and X. So, no, speedy recovery, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. But yeah, no, like I said, it's I'm looking forward to sort of getting the season done and moving on. Then we can see how we're linked with every single player going. It's already started. Everyone that's ever played for Lopetegui has started to be linked to West Ham. So can't wait for that.
It's season ticket renewals this season, mate. That's the thing. It's we'll be linked with the top talents in Europe up until once everyone's got their season ticket sorted, and then it'll be we're linked again with Calvin Phillips.
Oh yeah, listen, never want to see that guy anywhere near the club ever again.
One other thing I want to mention.
You were right.
Obviously, next Saturday is the DT38 charity game at Dagenham and Redbridge. I've been helping out organising it, so it's been good to be involved. There's a lot of hard work gone into it, but it's going to be a great day. There's some great players on, like, for both sets of clubs. I think there's over like 50 odd players, nearly 60 players for both clubs. Like, it's a great turnout. But some of the names for West Ham: Jimmy Walker, David Marty, Kaczewski, Hines, Harewood, Collins, Colton Cole, Dean Ashton, Elliot Ward, Matt Jarvis, Anton Ferdinand, and there's loads more as well. So it's going to be a great day. So if you're free next Saturday and you fancy coming over, get behind the charity. It's going to be there's a lot planned as well for a tribute for Dylan, which I won't reveal too much. But it's going to be great. You can pay on the door. I think the main stand where the dugout is all sold out. The stand behind the goal is almost sold out. So the terrace standing. So it's going to be a great day. So we'll all be over there. We'll be interviewing as many players as we can, and it'll be good. It'll be a good day. And as I said, a lot of hard work gone in. The people behind the scenes have put in a lot of hard work. So yeah, looking forward to it. The ticket link is in the description below. So yeah, if you fancy coming over, see you there.
Do it, and as they played tomorrow, Bar and Grill Canary Wolf.
Yes,
a little drink up and that. I end with a few questions, comments. Would you take Smith Rowe? I would take him if it depends on what money he's on. I don't know what his injury record is a bit sketchy, so that's there. But player wise, I think he's a good player. I think it'd be good. How about you guys?
He's decent.
Yeah, I like him. I like he's a good young talent. So whether Arsenal want to let him go, but yeah.
This is a good question, but I think who was a worse transfer, Phillips or Wilshere? I'm going to go Phillips because I've at least seen Wilshere do something to West Hampshire. I think at the games, both games where I see him provide, he's only 2 assists, which I think was Newcastle away and Newport away where we went. And
He actually scored in that game, didn't he?
He scored as well, didn't he?
Scored. Oh yeah, he scored. So there you go. So I've never seen Phillips do anything in a West. It's got to be Phillips, isn't it?
So you was there when Wilshere scored, and you was there when who was the other player you see score?
Oh, Hugill.
Hugo, yeah.
Hugill, yeah. The rare occasions I've been there. Hugill. But yeah, and we got Wilshere on for free, didn't we? We had to pay a loan fee for Phillips, didn't we?
Yeah, that's the thing. And we had to pay him $150,000 a week.
Man, unlike you, Scott, I think there's a good player in there with Phillips. I just think he hasn't got it up here, mate. I think mentality is a joke.
Listen, he'll be great in the Championship next season. Put it that way.
Yeah, he's going to have to take a massive pay cut. But yeah, I think his attitude is really poor. Question for Ryan: Jake Paul or Tyson to win, and will you be watching it?
Yeah, I'll probably have a watch because obviously I'm a big Mike Tyson fan. So, but yeah, do you know what? I was reading something about that earlier. That VIP ringside tickets for this fight are going for $2 million each.
What?
Yeah, that's what they're charging. I'm like, it's on Netflix as well. They make so much money out of this. It's ridiculous.
I thought you was going to say $2,000. I thought he was going to go. We'll just go $2 million.
That's ridiculous.
Just quickly, Dan, you see where WrestleMania is next year?
Where?
It's in Vegas.
Oh, that's a bit of you all over.
That's a massive stadium as well. And
That's
then I think didn't I read something? But the year after that is in England. They're looking at Wembley, aren't they?
Oh yeah. Well, that was the thing, innit? That Triple H, not to get political, but Sadiq London man Sadiq said, "If you vote for me, I'll try and get us WrestleMania." And Triple H said, "Let's talk." So that's why he won, because of WrestleMania. Everyone was going, "We want WrestleMania." But yeah, I mean, if say the unthinkable happens, Ryan, and Tyson loses, God forbid, he even gets knocked out. I mean, how does that affect his legacy and our super fans like you see him like?
Oh, what, Mike Tyson? Look, you got to think about it. Tyson's like 30 years older than this geezer. Like Tyson can inspire in training. He looks sharp and that, but look, he's fighting a younger fighter. It's been sanctioned as a pro fight as well, so anything
it'll be on the record.
One punch, he could knock Jake Paul out. But I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, Tyson's going to get a lovely payday out of it, and I think anyone in the world would step in the ring for that sort of money, even though even if you got knocked out. So, but the big fight is obviously the other Tyson Fury, next Saturday. Against Usyk. So, yeah. Well,
let's just hope.
That's a tough one to call.
Let's just hope for the greater good. Tyson wins.
Both Tysons.
Oh yeah, exactly. That'll be it. But yeah. Anything else from you, lads?
No. It's good to be back on. Gutted I can't be there tomorrow. But yeah, enjoy it. And as we said when we played Nicky's video at the beginning, like if you fancy going down and having a few drinks, get down there. Canary Wharf's not far. It's only 2 or 3 stops on the Jubilee line from Stratford.
Jubilee line, yeah.
West Ham, Canning Town. North Greenwich, Canary Wharf. 4 stops.
Yeah. Even if you're not at the game, then feel free to still come down. Like if you can get there, I don't know. By the time we finish fan cams, it'll probably be like 6 o'clock or something. We get there, isn't it? 5:30 or whatever.
Yeah, about that. Give or take.
So get down if you can. So, but yeah, no, great to see you lads again. It feels like it's been ages.
I think we've got I keep forgetting about this, but we've got the Colton Cole night coming up at the end of May, the 30th of May at the Brewdog in Upminster. It's sold out, which is great. So. That'd be something else to look forward to. It's all go, isn't it? Looking forward to it.
It's all go at the end of the season. Just when we think we're winding down, no, we're winding up. So, let's hope we bloody win tomorrow.
Massively, mate. That's the key thing. That's the key thing. Winning tomorrow.
Nice one, lads.
Go on in, Dan. You end it, and I'll get ready to press the button.
All right, you press button. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Look out for the fan cams, all of that stuff tomorrow. And come and have a drink with us after the game if you're about. DT 38 event next Saturday, all that good stuff. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the weather. One thing left to say.
Come on, Lions.